Right, hello. Excuse the hood and everything's cold. It's cold today, but it's dry. Taking advantage of the weather, the break in the weather, because it's been a bit horrible this morning. But fingers crossed, it stays dry. I've got a job today. I've got a car in to clean, a friend's car here. You may have seen this on my Instagram before. This is his Vauxhall Astra VXR. It's not in a nice clean condition. In fact, he said to me, I've been leaving it to get nice and dirty for you. And yeah, it's not great. Let me show you here. Not nice. It's driven in the countryside. Oh, look at the sun. We're getting lovely sunshine. Yeah, it's driven in the countryside often, and you can see lots of grime on the door there. Lots of it around the wheel arch here. The wheels aren't in great condition. Also, the wheels are actually mismatching color. You can see this is a silver one, and that's an anthracite one, and that's because the other one here is, this one has been replaced, so he needs to get that one colored. But I'll still clean everything up. I'm going to give this thing a really good clean today. There's the front end, looking a bit worse for wear. The bonnet has plenty of these streaks of grime. The front end is, yeah, not too bad, but you know, it's still dirty. It's dirty and grimy. The tires are grimy and things, but this is good. This gives me an opportunity to film something. Whoa, look at the back end. That's practically looking matte. Whoa. Not nice at all. Right, so the plan for today, let me get this screen around so I can see what I'm doing. The plan is to use a bunch of products. So this is a kind of a review, and at the same time kind of just a video to wash this car. Anyway, I'm taking an opportunity. I have a box here from Mile Deep. Mile Deep sent me some products here, so I have a whole box full of bits and pieces from Jody, and yeah, all sorts of gear in there. So I'm going to work my way through a bunch of their products and see how good these are. What can we do with them? So obviously I want to see if there's a pre-wash. I need to have a look through the box here. Okay, so we're going to use Release. This is their concentrated citrus pre-wash. So I'm going to mix that one up into a pump sprayer. I've also got their snow foam, which is simply called Snow. So that one's going to go on top and stop the release from drying out. Now there should hopefully also be a shampoo in here. Yes, this is Cleanse pH neutral shampoo. So we're going to use that. What else can I get some use out of today? That's for interior. I don't think I'm doing interior today. I simply won't have the time for that. That's a glass cleaner. This is purple. This is the iron fallout remover. So that, I will definitely give it some of that, you know, and help to try and release as much dirt as possible from the car. Try and get it as clean as possible. Sheen, this could be a good follow-up. This is a gloss drying aid. So the idea is to spray it onto a wet car and then dry it off. And it adds a bit of protection and helps it dry off a little bit there. So yeah, those are the products I'm going to be trying today whilst tackling this car. So stick around, we'll see how we get on. So this is a quick test I wanted to do about the difference between pre-rinsing a car or not. Many people believe that a pre-rinse is really the best way to go about a car before you apply a pre-wash product. The left side got a pre-rinse and the right side did not. The pre-wash was applied without pre-rinsing and was allowed to dwell for about 5 minutes before coming back and rinsing again. This was to find out how much dirt could be removed from just pre-rinsing alone and from using a pre-wash product. And to find out just how well it worked, I used my pet blower here at the highest airspeed with the warmest setting for the heated air, and this is to push away and evaporate the remaining water to give you a good idea of how much dirt is actually left. And now you can see a really noticeable difference. The right side has a really clear reflection of the driveway, and the left side, which had no chemicals, still has grime. That in itself is a really useful little demonstration there to show you that a pre-wash product is definitely worthwhile having. The left side was only rinsed off, no chemicals. The right side was not rinsed, but had the pre-wash chemical applied. That is an outstanding difference. If that panel was still wet, it wouldn't be so noticeable. So here I decided to follow up with this and spray the release pre-wash on the left-hand side after it had been rinsed first, to find out if a rinse first and then pre-wash would have much of a difference compared to just a pre-wash and then rinse off. So we'll return to the panel again after the rinse with another dry down, and let's have a close look. The left side and the right side. Honestly, I couldn't tell a difference between them. What I decided to do was go in with a cheeky finger swipe. You can see a finger line there. It's rather faint, but it is there. And the same on the left-hand side. So really, is there a big difference between pre-rinsing first? Maybe not, but I would prefer to do it if the car was particularly dirty. It doesn't hurt to do it, and it's only going to take you a few minutes. But the entire car gets a good going over with the pre-wash there, and then it gets topped off with snow, the snow foam. This is to make sure that the chemical doesn't dry out. And here I was testing the dilution knob on the top of the snow foam lance to find out how thin can I make it and how thick does it go. So you can see here I am steadily increasing the dial to its thickest. This is the detailed online snow foam lance. After a few minutes I didn't want the snow foam to dry out on the panel, so I made sure to give that a good rinse off relatively quickly. Panel by panel to make sure I'm not missing anything, and I am definitely pushing the dirt off. I'm going to give you a good demonstration in just a second on the other side of the car here. This will be rather important. Now here what I'm doing is I am holding the stubby gun very far away from the car, and this is to just move the snow foam off the car. I'm not trying to push the dirt off the paint, just the snow foam itself, because I want to give you a bit of a close-up here now. Let's get in close, and you'll see the difference. Snow foam itself is not enough to clean the car. That is what happens when you introduce high-pressure water to your paint after you have used some pre-wash chemicals like a citrus, a traffic film remover, snow foam, products like that. You do need the high pressure water. Snow foam itself or pre-wash chemicals are not enough to completely clean the car. You do need high pressure water. And admittedly I am using the 40-degree nozzle here from CarScope. So it's a relatively wide one. It's not a narrow one. It's still spreading out the area of focus. You can see that front wheel really has come up incredibly well with just the pre-wash and snow foam. Keep this in mind for the rear wheel later on in the video. But if you're looking for a quick touchless top-up of cleaning and you're not looking to go in with a full contact clean, this could be an option for you. Now, this is the wash process, and you'll notice I only have one bucket there and there's no shampoo in it. That's because the shampoo is in the snow foam lance. 50 milliliters of shampoo to around 500 milliliters of water sprayed all over the car. This is a one bucket method. That bucket there contains only clean water. This is a bit of a game changer. This is something my friend Paul Dolden and I have been talking about on our podcast. I do recommend you listen in. Please do check out the links in the description below.
But this makes a big difference because I am not having to bring shampoo to the car from a bucket. And doing this, I'm actually getting more shampoo onto the paint than would normally be delivered if it was just a bucket full of shampoo. It really does make a difference, and it also adds a whole bunch of slickness. It is so much slicker and smoother to bring your wash mitt across the panel when it's already covered in a foaming coating of shampoo. It really is a bit of a game changer. We talked about this a few times. It is really, really great. And you can see how much foam I'm getting from this shampoo. It responds really well, so there's some good foaming agents in it. It works really, really nicely. And you could back this off if you wanted to. You could put in a little bit less, 25ml for example, if you wanted a slightly thinner solution. But I think this was a really good combination.
I just wanted to show you this very quickly. This is the water, the wash water from, well, this is actually just the rinse water. So that's what the rinse water looks like. So it goes to show you that although you are washing your car with the 2-bucket method, you've pre-washed your car, you've still got a bunch of dirt. Thankfully, not much grit. You can see there at the bottom, the grit guard is clear and it's free, it's empty down there. So there's nothing in there, which means that we've got the most of the dirt off the car, but you can see the grime in the water. So there was still stuff that could come off. So pre-washing won't get rid of everything. Okay, I ran into something. I'm going to show you. I felt it while I was washing the car. Everything was going really well, and then I was washing it, and I felt some drag on the wash pad. Here's why. So let me show you. Let me take you around this way. Let's see what's going on here. Right. So this is a nice piece of paint here. This is fine, and if you listen, there's a little bit on there, but there's not much on there, right? Otherwise, that sounds, you know, like most people's paint. Then I came around to the back end. It's like this. It's like this all the way across the back here. This whole section has it, and some of the top end of this bumper here has it, the worst. The lower down it goes, it's not too bad, but definitely around this whole back section. So then I had a bit of a closer look. Now I'm not entirely sure if this is going to show up on camera, but I'm going to take you in close. There you go, look at that. Do you see that? That's some form of contamination. I can't tell if it's tar or iron fallout remover or a mixture of the two, but it's in that paint, and that's what's making it rough, and that's also affecting the shine and gloss of it because it doesn't look as nice there, and you can hear it. So my first thing, a lot of people will go straight into that with clay bar, and clay bar is not a good idea straight away. You don't want to be attacking physically, mechanically, something that you can maybe remove with chemicals. So I'm going to go with a chemical decontamination first. I'm going to hit it with tar remover, iron fallout remover, have a look and see if we get any reactions. If we do, fantastic, because then I'm not doing anything more to the paint. The back end of this car is due to get a wrap at some point, so we're not going to go for absolute perfection, but the more we can get off without messing with the paint as much as possible, you know, physically attacking it, the better. So yeah, I need to go and get some stuff. Obviously I've got some iron fallout remover from Mile Deep, but I don't have tar remover from them, so I'm just going to have to use one of my own. So yeah, it's a bit of investigatory work, this one. Now you can see there's a reaction there. There's a small amount of tar in this, but it's not huge. It really isn't big at all. I've got a feeling this is more iron fallout than it is tar, because the reaction for tar here is just it's not the same. There are a few streaks, bits and pieces here and there. You can see a few there, but really not a big deal. So yeah, I've just soaked this entire back section here in some TARDIS, and honestly, it's yeah, it's not pulling away huge amounts. It's not making a big difference. Maybe a bit more. This may need to be a clay-worthy situation, but I'm going to try this first. Then I'm going to move on to the iron fallout. Okay, so I've actually already tried this, but this is the second hit because I think it needs more. So this is the iron fallout remover, and as you can see here, again a bit closer there, you can see that reaction there. There's a lot of it. So this is really doing something, but there's a big reaction all over the back end here. I'm gonna guess this is mostly from brakes, because let's be perfectly honest, this is a VXR, and brakes on this thing are a fair old size, you know, they're quite big. And so I've re-coated the whole back end here. Look at this here. You can see this is the base of the C-pillar of the car, and a big reaction going on there. So this is using Maldeep's purple, it says here, iron and fallout remover. So wow, look at this bit here. That's really terrible. It's everywhere. That's really bad. So I love this trigger. It's a really great trigger here. You can see it comes out kind of foamy, but it seems to spread well. So I'm just being really liberal with it, because this is really a lot here. So I'm just going kind of crazy with it, but because I really want to get the most of it. Look at all that. That's all the reaction from the iron fallout remover there. It's all over the number plate. And that's because the vortex that's created at the back of the car, it creates a vortex of air, and that pulls air around the back of the car. This section's not too bad here, but this is the second section. This is the second hit on this right hand side compared to the left hand side. But you can see reaction all across here. The product stinks. That's the usual situation with iron fallout removers. The sodium mercaptoacetate is strong. Wow, look at that. That's shocking. So let's grab the pressure washer and give that a thorough rinse again, and get rid of this stuff. Alright, well, let's have a feel of the paint now. Oh yes, we're definitely getting there. There's still some contamination there. Oh, it's nowhere near as bad as it was. It's really good. There's still something there. I think this is going to need a clay, to be perfectly honest. I don't think I'm going to be able to get away with just the chemical decontamination only. I do think it's going to need claying, so time to dig out the clay mitt. For the clay job, I'm using a G3 Pro clay mitt because it's going to do the job faster. It's a big working area, and for lubricant, normally I would use shampoo, but because I didn't have shampoo in a bucket for this job, I'm just using a clay lube detailing spray. So that's the Auto Glim Rapid Detailer here. Works really good as a clay lube. So I'm going to work on this back section and see what kind of improvement we can make.
For those of you listening carefully, you will have noticed that the noise is quite loud to begin with, and then it quietens down, and that's the contaminants being removed from the paint and captured by the clay mitt.
And the nice thing about a clay mitt is you can rinse it out and use it again. Alright, so that's the claying done. So you may have heard it when I was working the clay on the paint that it went from noisy to silent, and it really is lovely and quiet now. Here's the difference. Up here you can hear there's some stuff on the paint here that I haven't clayed, and here, but over here where I have clayed, it's silent. So it's beautifully glassy smooth here now all along this section. What that's also done is it has brightened up that section. The paint is now clearer. There's less contamination on there that was robbing the paint of any contaminants. Sorry, that's a wrong word. It's been robbing the paint of reflection. It hasn't been doing the job. It's been kind of not very clear. So the reflection you see of me right there, hello, that reflection wasn't as clear and sharp, but now it is, and that's because that contamination that hides reflection, that hides clarity in your paint, that has been brightened up and improved there. So that's really, really good. But the entire car needs it. That's not what the car's in for today. I haven't got the time to do the full car, so I'm going to have to book him back in to get a full decontamination before he ends up wrapping the back end of this car. So now it's time to move on, since we've done this, to the wheels before I do the last thing on the paint, which will be to get a drying aid on there to get a bit of shine and gloss and a little bit of protection on the paint. So I'm going to crack on now and get on with these, because they're not looking entirely fantastic. You can see there that is a bunch of buildup of grime and things like that. I have very little left of the purple, which is the iron fallout remover there. Look, there's the purple name on the side there. I've got very little left, but I wanted to keep some to try it on the wheels there and see if we can use that to eat into some of that contamination. But they didn't send me a wheel cleaner, so I'm going to have to mostly make my own way with this, and yeah, see how we can get on with this, see if we can get them cleaned up a bit.
The products used here were turtle wax foaming wheel and tire cleaner, hitting it quite heavily, giving it a really good going over with a tire scrubbing brush there, and then different sized wheel woolies, as well as a Vicon spoke brush. And it really wasn't doing a huge amount. I gave it a rinse off. It still looked pretty horrific. I hit it with the purple to try and remove some of this iron fallout, and I went in with a stiff bristled Atlasta chemically resistant brush to try and remove some of that contamination, but it was incredibly heavy contamination. Really, really hard. I gave it a second hit, and normally a second wash would be less apparent. The iron fallout would not show up quite so much, but here it was practically the same, and I needed to go in with an even stiffer version of that Atlasta brush to help dislodge a lot of that iron fallout contamination. It was really, really bad. I spent a huge amount of time on this wheel thanks to a stubborn brake. But you can see there, it is now looking miles better. The contamination was really bad on it, and it took a lot of work, but it has been quite rewarding. Now it's time for some protection. This is the gloss enhancing spray sealant. Now this can be used in multiple different dilutions depending on whether you're using it as a base protection or as a top-up. This is going on as a base protection, so it's at about 10:1 dilution ratio in the foam lance, but you can use it at weaker dilutions for when you're using it as a top-up for in-between washes and things. You'll see here, it goes on like a snow foam, and as you rinse it off, you'll see the instant beading before. If you remember before, when I was claying this area, the water was really sticking to it, and now you can see it's beading very nicely and it's starting to sheet. So this is a really useful product for topping up protection or adding protection when you simply don't have the time. It can also be used on your alloy wheels. As you can see here, that water is beading on the spokes, and that means that future wheel cleans could be made that little bit easier also. Honestly, it's such a great time saver, this product. I'm a real fan of this type of protection product where it's a snow foam and you could just throw it on, get it done, get it out of the way. You know you've got something topped up there. It's not as good as a proper spray sealant or a wax, for example. It sheets a little slower, but this is something that you can throw on with very little time and effort. I'm a real fan of this kind of product, and this one has worked very well for me. It's not running off the bonnet very fast because the driveway there is actually an upward slope, so the car is leaning backwards. I'm testing here the sheeting effect now. This is to try and dry the panel with water. You can see I'm creating a flat sheet, and it's taking most of the beads away with it, and that means that the drying process will be that much quicker. This is also a gloss enhancing drying aid, so it's going to add a little something to the paint to make it a little more shiny and glossy and look like it's had some work done to it. But the car needs to be properly dried, so I am priming my drying towel here. This is the drying towel from Sam's Detailing. Giving it a quick spray with some water, and that will help it to pick up more water as you go. And because the water has all been beading, and I've been trying to remove as much water thanks to sheets of water from the hose, it comes off nice and easily here. Anything else remaining in the spokes of the wheels or in some of the trim pieces, I'm using my pet blower to blow those out and get rid of them so you don't get any of those nasty drips or water marks from water that's maybe been dripping out from door handles, trim pieces, wing mirrors, and so on. A very, very useful tool to have. Also great for drying your tires before dressing them. Now this is the glass cleaner Vision and the towel that they included, which I believe is a fish scale towel. A very, very good combination. They both work really well together actually. Really pleased with those. And here are the results. The tires were dressed with a glossier tire dressing than I would normally use. I believe it was Geon Q2 tire that the customer selected. But you can see here the car is looking much, much better. I am very happy with the results here. And the owner was very pleased too. Not bad for a couple of hours. If you guys are interested in checking out the products, then please do have a look down in the description below for Mile Deep, where you'll have access to the website and also a discount code down there for you guys, available for 2 months from the time of this video going live, if you want to give them a try. Thank you very much to Jody at Mile Deep for sending these products along. Thank you to you guys for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please go ahead, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, share these videos, and we'll see you guys in the next video.